What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 14:52 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East. So, late last night, or early this morning, we had a shooting at the U.S. Embassy in Beirut. Apparently, a gunman or multiple gunmen opened fire on the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon. And we're hearing now that the Lebanese army killed one of the shooters, and there are wounded among the embassy's security force. We're hearing that one of the gunmen was a Syrian national and he opened fire on the U.S. Embassy in Beirut. So this is huge news, guys, okay? And right now, this afternoon, we have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert. We have 3 Boeing E-6B nuclear war command and control planes in the air right now. We also have 2 B-52 Stratofortress nuclear bombers. These B-52s are part of our nuclear triad. So we have one nuclear war command and control plane over Oregon. We have one over Nebraska. We have one over Oklahoma. And then we have these 2 B-52s doing loops in West Texas. So our nuclear forces are on high alert. It looks like something big is about to go down both in Europe and in the Middle East, and potentially also Asia as well. It looks like Israel is about to go to war with Hezbollah after the massive rocket attack over the weekend on Sunday night. Hezbollah launched a massive, unprecedented rocket attack on Israel that caused massive wildfires and brush fires. And so now the Israeli government is deciding on whether or not to go into Lebanon and, for the time being, ignore Rafah and focus on Hezbollah. We have the Israeli National Security Minister, Ben Gvir, saying that the role of the Israeli army now is to destroy Hezbollah and burn its strongholds. There can be no peace in Lebanon. Wow. And Iran warned the U.S. against any preemptive strike on Hezbollah by Israel. Iran sent a clear message to the U.S. through a third party, stating that any offensive move against Hezbollah that would weaken the organization would bring the entire region to war, and Iran would be part of it. Wow. And the Khan News, that's a news agency in Israel, reported that Israel's defense chiefs want the IDF to shift focus of military operations to Lebanon and make Gaza a lower priority. And apparently, the IDF Northern Command is now actively preparing for a large scale campaign, including combat inside of Lebanon to uproot Hezbollah presence along the border with Israel. So, this is being reported by Khan News. They're saying that Israel's top generals want the IDF to focus on Hezbollah now instead of Gaza, which makes sense because the Gaza operation is mostly over with the exception of Rafah. And Rafah is basically just a political decision. It's very controversial, but much of Hamas has been decimated, but Hezbollah still remains. This update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link preparewithnyprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It includes over 2,000 calories per day, breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks, all contained within 6 rugged water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $200 off or 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. Free shipping is included. They also have a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running various discounts. And to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo when you get to preparewith.nyprepper.com at the top of the page, and you'll see their general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running discounts here. So use the link preparewith.nyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. So we could see Israel attack Hezbollah any day now, and it does look like a war in Europe is brewing and about to take place as well. I think this summer we're going to see Russia potentially attack the Baltics and potentially a showdown between NATO and Russia. And what you're looking at here are the flight paths of 2 U.S. sub-hunters off the coast of Florida. Very interesting. These are P-8 Poseidons. So I don't know if there's some Russian sub out here that they're keeping an eye on, or if they're just calibrating their sensors. And I want to remind you guys that 2 B-52s flew all the way from Britain to Lebanon Monday. Okay, this was Monday night. They flew all the way from the UK to the Eastern Mediterranean, right up to Lebanon, turned around and came back. Okay, so this was obviously a show of force to Hezbollah. Okay, so I'm going to be monitoring our nuclear war frequencies. If anything escalates, I will go live. But it does appear that Israel is on the verge of going into Lebanon. And it does appear also that something massive is brewing in Europe. I'm going to talk about Europe in a minute here, but I want to just update you guys more on Israel. So Israeli media is reporting that over 6,000 shops and more than 650 buildings have been damaged already in northern Israel as a result of the conflict with Hezbollah so far. Okay, so the Israeli government is not going to allow Hezbollah to continue to attack northern Israel and make it uninhabitable, because thousands and thousands of Israelis have left northern Israel because of the constant rocket shelling. Okay, so the Israeli government is going to deal with that, especially now that the Gaza situation is mostly resolved. And after meeting with Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, in Beirut today, Iran's new foreign minister went to meet the Syrian president, Bashar al-Assad. Okay, so the new Iranian foreign minister, because the last one died in the helicopter crash, met with Nasrallah in Beirut, and then also is going to meet with the Syrian president. So that is obviously a sign that something is about to go down. And one of the leaders of Hezbollah said that if Israel wants an all-out war, we are ready for it. And Britain warned Lebanon that Israel would launch a full-scale offensive in mid-June and advised Beirut to make preparations for war. Okay, so mid-June is what Britain is saying. That's what they told Lebanon, the country, okay, telling them to prepare for a massive war. Israel's going to go in and clean up the Hezbollah. Okay, so mid-June, that's just a week away, guys. Okay, so make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified, because I will go live when that happens, when Israel goes into Lebanon. And U.S. President Joe Biden made a nasty comment about Netanyahu, saying that people have every reason to draw the conclusion that Netanyahu is prolonging the war for his own political purposes. Wow. I mean, that is just crazy, guys, for a U.S. president to say something like that. And the U.S. has indicated that it will hold talks with Ukraine on permitting wider strikes into Russian territory with U.S. supplied weapons. According to John Kirby, the White House National Security Communications Advisor, he said, "We're going to continue to try to again evolve our support to them as the battlefield evolves as well. Okay, so looks like the U.S. is planning to allow Ukraine to conduct deep strikes into Russia. They've already been allowed to conduct strikes into Russia with American weapons near the Kharkiv Oblast, and the Ukrainians have already destroyed an S-400 missile defense system, okay, which is one of Russia's top tier air defenses. That's like the equivalent of our Patriot missile system, okay? So Ukraine destroyed one of their S-400s with an American ATACMS from a HIMARS launcher, and that was just in the Belgorod region close to Kharkiv, because Biden gave Ukraine the green light to strike just near the Kharkiv area, just over the border in Russia, in self-defense. But now the U.S. is discussing the possibility of allowing Ukraine to conduct deeper strikes, not just in Belgorod or areas near Kharkiv, but other strategic sites. And I reported yesterday that multiple European embassies were having a meeting to discuss what the risks would be if NATO allowed Ukraine to conduct deep strikes into Russia with NATO weapons, and specifically what would happen if Ukraine took out more long range radars, if that would potentially spark a nuclear response from Russia, because Ukraine has already taken out 3 of Russia's early warning radars that Russia uses for nuclear war. Okay. And if they take out more of them, that could provoke Russia to use nuclear weapons. But I want to remind you guys that Russia has already put their tactical nuclear missiles on full combat alert, okay, right along the border of Ukraine and also in Belarus. Belarus and Russia just completed tactical nuclear weapons drills. And guys, these are not drills, these are forward deployments, okay? They've moved nuclear tipped missiles to their launch points, and they're basically ready to fire at a moment's notice, okay? And we had Dmitry Medvedev, the former president of Russia, issue a chilling warning on Telegram last Friday, stating that the West is underestimating Russia with the tactical nuclear weapons, just like how they underestimated Russia, thinking that Russia would never invade Ukraine, and sure enough, they did. And now the West is thinking the same way with the tactical nuclear missiles, thinking that Russia would never use them, but he says that they will. And I personally agree. I think that Russia is eventually going to use tactical nuclear missiles on Ukraine. I think it's going to happen. It's not a if, it's a when. It's in multiple prophecies, notably the Azov Mena prophecy, which I've talked about a lot on my channel. I was probably the first channel to really bring the Azov Mena prophecy to light. The Azov Mena prophecy, if you're not aware of it, a pastor by the name of Philip Barnett from Oklahoma used to have a church in the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, and God showed him a future war between Ukraine and Russia, in which Russia would invade Ukraine and there would be a massive evacuation of people right before the invasion, which is exactly what happened. And then later on, Russia would use tactical nuclear missiles on 8 cities in eastern Ukraine: Odessa, Mykolaiv, Kiev, Kharkiv, I think Donetsk, all the major cities in eastern Ukraine, Poltava, would all get hit with nuclear missiles. And that would be like the second phase of this war. And I think this prophecy is legit, because if you watch the entire prophecy, it's pretty long. It's like 3 hours. He posted this prophecy on YouTube, Pastor Barnett. In 2007, he posted it, okay? And in 2007, his prophecy was spot on with the way that this war has unfolded, specifically with the evacuation right before Russia invaded and the invasion routes, okay? He showed a map back in 2007 how Russia would actually invade Ukraine, and it was 100% the exact same way they actually did it over 15 years later, okay? And the second part of the prophecy talks about a nuclear attack by Russia on Ukraine, on 8 cities in Ukraine, okay? So get prepared, guys. And The German defense minister issued a dire warning today saying that Putin's war economy is heading towards another conflict. We must be ready for war by 2029. Guys, it's not going to be in 2029. That is just very optimistic thinking. Okay, Russia's not going to wait 5 years to make their moves. They're going to do it now while they have momentum. Okay, if you listen to a lot of the Western military analysts, they say all the time that, oh, Russia is not ready yet for a war with NATO. They still need several more years to reconstitute their losses. That's a bunch of feel-good BS, okay, to try to make people feel better and not get scared. But the reality is Russia has been spending 30% of their budget on military spending. Okay, they've been churning out millions of artillery shells. They've been building tanks. They've been building missiles. Okay, they're ready for war now. They're not going to wait 5 years when the momentum is not on their side. The momentum is on their side now. If they're going to make their move, they're going to make it now before NATO has time to prepare. Because if they wait 5 years, NATO's going to have time to reinforce the Baltics and build up their military more. And all the vulnerable countries like Poland, the Baltics, Finland, Romania, Moldova, all those vulnerable frontline countries are going to have several years to build up their militaries, to have NATO bases built in those countries. And then it's going to be a lot harder for Russia to make their move. But now the Baltics are weak, the Baltics are vulnerable, and Russia could literally take over the entire Baltics in just a few weeks, okay, maybe a few days, especially the Suwalki Gap. They can close that gap in 1 day, okay? That's the gap between Kaliningrad and Belarus, okay? So get prepared, guys. Things are really getting crazy. And then we have the situation in Asia escalating as well, with China doing those big drills around Taiwan, and South Korea's resuming their artillery drills on the border of North Korea. What you're looking at here is a Russian doomsday plane that flew from Moscow to Minsk late last night, and this is the third night in a row that Russian VIP planes and or doomsday planes have went to Minsk. Okay, so something is brewing here, guys, for all these VIP planes and doomsday planes to be going from Moscow to Minsk in such a short time span is very concerning. We know that Vladimir Putin already visited Belarus like a week or two ago. He met with the president of Belarus, so it's probably not Putin going back again. And we know that the Russian defense minister met with the Belarusian defense minister already, so it's probably not them. It's probably other top generals going to Minsk, and they're basically preparing for a war with the Baltics. They're going to go into Lithuania, and they're going to try to get the land bridge to Kaliningrad, just like they wanted the land bridge to Crimea. That's what they're going to try to do, okay? So something is brewing over here, and the general of the Ukrainian military, Oleksandr Syrsky, said that the battlefield situation is difficult, but Ukraine has a chance to change it. He said that Russia is continuing to push on the Kurakhove, Pokrovsk, Kupiansk, and Kharkiv sectors. In other directions, Moscow's troops are reportedly carrying out attacks to stretch the front line, to grind down Ukrainian troops and prevent them from deploying to other areas. And the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, warned that the next few weeks on the battlefield will shape the rest of the year. Okay, so Russia's going to make their big offensive soon in Ukraine. And what if this is all just like a big head fake? Everybody's thinking, oh, Russia's going to do this big offensive in Ukraine, and everybody's heavily focused on Ukraine so much, and then suddenly Russia skips Ukraine and goes right for Lithuania, okay, and tries to make the land bridge to Kaliningrad. That's a very real possibility, guys, okay? Want to just show you guys some more flight paths. Last night we had more NATO reconnaissance over Poland. Look at this, guys. 4 NATO reconnaissance planes in Poland. Okay, we have an Italian AWACS plane patrolling the northern and eastern part of Poland here. We have a Swedish reconnaissance plane in northern and eastern Poland. We have a U.S. reconnaissance plane flying all around Kaliningrad. And then we have this Swedish reconnaissance plane in the Baltic Sea. So this is insane, guys. Look at all this reconnaissance. Okay, I've never seen this before. This is insane. So something is brewing over there. And we also had all this aerial refueler activity off the coast of Baja California late last night. And we also had a U.S. reconnaissance plane active in this area as well. So we had probably like a dozen aerial refuelers fly all the way down to the Guadalupe Island, and then they all went west of the Guadalupe Island and they disappeared from the flight tracker. And then there was also this RC-135 reconnaissance plane with them. And then they were there for a short period of time, and then they all went back. So I don't know what this was about, but very, very concerning. Okay, a dozen aerial refuelers in this area. Here's a screenshot of them all coming back. Okay, so something was going on over here. And this is exactly the same area where they issued that NOTAM 2 weeks ago, where Russia was supposed to splash down missiles in this area. They were going to do a missile test off the coast of California. Well, right here is where they were going to shoot those missiles to. So I don't know if this is related to that. It could be. Here we have some video footage coming out of Belgorod in Russia showing that S-400 complex that was hit by Ukrainian ATACMS. These are American weapons, okay, that the Ukrainians used to destroy this S-400. So we know that the Ukrainians destroyed several launcher vehicles and also some command vehicles as well. So they basically took out the entire battery. So now there's a big hole in Russia's air defense in that area. If they've taken out one of these air defense sites, this is preparation for something. Maybe Ukraine is going to start sending F-16s into this area and they want to take out the S-400s. I don't know, guys. And then yesterday we had more Russian VIP planes going to Minsk. Here we have two Russian VIP planes and doomsday planes. Okay, the Tupolev 214 PU is a Russian doomsday plane. It's an airborne command post for the president of Russia. This was 2 days ago. And then this was 3 days ago, another Russian VIP plane. Okay, so something is brewing. And NATO has already released a plan on how they're going to fight with Russia in Eastern Europe. So they have like 5 paths that they're going to take, or avenues of approach. So we have one route from the Netherlands through Germany and Poland. We have another route from Italy through Slovenia, Croatia, and Hungary. We have another route from Greece, Bulgaria, and then into Romania. And then another one from Turkey through Bulgaria, Romania, and then another one from Norway through Sweden and into Finland. Okay, so NATO is preparing for a worst case scenario, a showdown with Russia, which I think is coming potentially this summer. And France is doing this high intensity drill with their Air Force in northwestern France. And Taiwanese forces started deploying naval mines around the northern coast of Taiwan to stop a Chinese invasion, especially around the port of Zhuhai. And hundreds of people have sheltered in evacuation centers on Tuesday after a volcano erupted in the central Philippines. Mount Conloan on Negros Island exploded for 6 minutes on Monday night, sending a plume of ash, rocks, and gases 3 miles into the sky. At least 2,800 people moved into emergency shelters, according to official figures. Wow. So I'm going to be monitoring all of these events. We have a lot going on. I'm going to continue to monitor the situation. And when things do go down, I will go live. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. Also, follow me on Telegram and Twitter. I post all these updates to Telegram and Twitter. So if you follow me there, you'll never miss an update. And I'll leave links to my Telegram and Twitter in the comments down below. But I will be back later on tonight with another update. And until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out.